All right, welcome back. As we're listening to Inside Bodybuilding, this is episode number 5, and we have our second guest on the show with Taylor and I. It is IFBB Pro, Brad Rowe. Brad, welcome to the show.
How's it going, guys? Thank you very much for having me on.
Hey, we appreciate you being here. We've got, I've watched a ton of your interviews that you've done before online, when you were an MD athlete. You're a busy guy. You're like the most busy bodybuilder I think I've seen. I mean, you do, what all do you do? You're obviously a pro bodybuilder. You're a trainer.
Trainer, model. I do contest prep. Yeah, former model. I do acting. Had a meal prep company. I got a clothing line. A little bit of everything. Just got to make money how you can.
Are you still doing the food delivery?
Yeah, I shut down my main business a little over a year ago, but I still have some clients that I cook for. So I do about 75, 80 meals a week. Cook and deliver to them on Mondays and Thursdays. It's an extra $600-$700 a week in the pocket, so it's kind of hard to get rid of.
Yeah, I think that's cool too, because I think you touched on in other interviews before, but if you're working with that athlete or that person, you know exactly what they're doing. It's just one thing to write a plan for them, but you're actually physically giving them the food.
Right, exactly. So, I got a few clients that compete that I do that for, and as long as they eat exactly what I give them, they're on track.
Yeah, for sure. So, and just a rundown for everybody that's listening, we're going to talk to Brad about, he works with Chris Aceto. Like he mentioned, he does some part-time acting. But I want to get straight into the bodybuilding. And one of the more polarizing things I think in the industry, and especially in the professional industry, but it goes back to the NPC, is this shift over. And if you play second place at the national, you can turn pro. And it's kind of controversial, but you're the first guy we've had on the show that actually turned pro without winning, his division. Do you wish in the back of your mind that you had actually, of course you wanted to win, but is there anything that is still on the table that you wish you could attain as an amateur, or are you just past that and on to being a professional?
Yeah, I'm just going to clean house in the professional ranks. No, I mean, I'm one of those people, I'm dead set against the second place pro card. I think that it should be top 4 in the overalls, actually, not even a pro card for every single weight class. But if opportunities presented to you, it's really hard to pass up. And that's where I sat at. I had talked to Chris and contemplated, hey, if this happens, should I pass it up? Should I continue to move forward in the NPC and see what happens? But, it's one of those sports, as with any sport. If you pass up an opportunity, you never know. You might get injured, things might happen, and you might not ever make it. So, our thing was, let's just take this and let's just make the best out of it. Let's prove everyone wrong. Every year go into it being the underdog, being that guy that no one thought ever should have been pro, and use that chip on your shoulder to make yourself better. So that's what I'm doing with it.
And you only really lost to Kevin Jordan, who I think that's not a bad thing to lose to at nationals. But then you came out in 2014, you placed second and you took a third. So I think you're doing, I think you shocked a lot of people, but I think physically, I know you're probably a pretty modest guy overall, but I personally think you're on the fast track as far as the IFBB goes. Well, a lot like Justin Compton. I mean, you only got back into competing, in 2010 or 11?
Yeah, 2010 is when I started. So, I was very happy with last year, and, it definitely shocked me. I didn't think I'd be cracking top 5 at all. And I was smart. I chose some shows with a little weaker lineup. I purposely did that. I wasn't going to jump to the New York Pro and have my ass whooped. I wanted to get out there and make a name for myself. And I knew that I could always rely on, conditioning and legs. It's just a matter of bringing my upper body up. So, I chose some shows that, gave me a shot to be in contention. And I think that was a smart move.
Are you seeing some pretty rapid growth in your upper body right now? Or do you feel you have a lot of potential to catch that up? Or are you still kind of struggling with that imbalance?
It's catching up slowly. It's hard to judge yourself. You're always your own worst critic. I mean, there's days that I think my legs are tiny, but, it's slowly catching up. I had a pretty productive off season this year. I'm actually trying to do a crash prep into the cow. 3 weeks ago, I woke up and took pictures, sent them into Chris, and was like, hey, the cow's in 7 weeks. Think we can make it? And originally supposed to be 16 weeks out from Vancouver. Chris is crazy. He's like, let's go for it. So, with a much shorter prep, I think I'm losing a little more of the size that I put on than I originally had hoped. But, I can still rebound if I choose to do later shows and put on a little more size after this.
What's the strategy behind that? Why would you guys want to do the crash prep?
Because I'm crazy. No, I love competing. I'm one of the twisted guys that I truly enjoy. I hate off season. I hate eating, hate getting fat. I love, hour to hour cardio a day and starving myself because, I'm a competitive person, and that's where I find the competitiveness of it. The challenging myself, pushing myself every day to, feel like shit and run down, but still be able to manage my clients and my life in general. So, but truly, that's kind of the fun part of it for me. So
well, let me put you on this. Brad, let me put you on the hot spot then, because like I said earlier, I think all the potential in the world to, in another year or so, to be going after the Arnold Classic title and maybe even pushing for one of those big top 4 spots at the Olympia. With that in mind, the pattern of these guys, if they win the Arnold, all of a sudden you only see them once, maybe twice a year. I think you're going to be that type of bodybuilder. So do you think you'll buck the system in a sense and still do 4, 5, 6 shows a year once you have that, pedigree?
I would like to think so. I've always, since I started competing, I've done at least 3 or 4 shows a year, each year. And I seem to get better the more I compete. So, I hope that I can carry that on. One big factor obviously is family. If I have kids down the road, then, there might be a year or 2 there where, if I am at that elite level, that I need to back off and be there for my wife and my kids for a little bit, then, that might play into effect. But as far as me and my mentality, I see 5 or 6 shows a year, no problem, kind of like Rhoden does. He'll do the Arnold, do the Olympia, and then the post-Olympia shows, at least get out there, make some money, just do it for the fans and for the love of the sport.
Right. You mentioned Rhoden. I just saw a training video you guys did in Venice. We're blasting chest. You were hitting some huge numbers on bench. Have you always been freakishly strong? I mean, I think I saw a flat bench 455 for 6. Are you that strong on all your lifts?
Yeah, I'm pretty strong. What's funny is I was actually stronger when I was in college playing football than I am now. Just different styles of training. But I hadn't flat benched in a really long time. I had a flayed pec tear, actually in 2010. And so I kind of strayed away from it. And then when I started using Mark Bell's slingshot, it's really helped secure my shoulder in a position where it doesn't put as much stress on the tendon as it inserts into the shoulder. So I finally got back into benching a little heavier. I just put a video up yesterday. I was trying out the 180s at Gold's, the dumbbells, but those are so damn awkward.
What kind of athlete is?
Really
what kind of athlete in the gym is? What kind of athlete? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What was that?
I was just gonna say what kind of trainer is Shawn Rhoden, because I think there's a lot of opinions online and just throughout the circles that because he's such a mellow guy, does he really bring it in the gym too, or is he just that genetically gifted and a freak?
No, I mean he puts in the effort in the gym without a doubt. It's not Branch Warren style training by any means, but he definitely does. He goes to fatigue on sets. He pushes himself. But he's also a little smarter about things too. He knows that injury is going to put you out, so he's not going to be stupid and try to, do bent over rows of 600 or whatever. And he's smart at times when I get my ego in the way, and all of a sudden we're deadlifting and I'm, going for 600 pounds. He's like, let's back down to 500. Do something a little more realistic so I don't get hurt. But it doesn't mean that he's not pushing himself. That's just his demeanor. He's so laid back. Everybody's like, Shawn's high all the time. No, Shawn doesn't smoke. It's just he's Jamaican. He's just everything's cool, man. That's him.
Right. So let's bring back a little bit because I want to ask you another question a little bit later about Shawn Rhoden, but it's been a frequent topic on the Project Bodybuilding forum that it's for a while there. Everybody thought you didn't need to move to California to be a bodybuilder, but I feel like now, in a lot of sense, guys are really starting to want to go back there. I don't know if it's because they everything comes full circle or what is it, but it takes a lot of guts, in my opinion, to travel from the East Coast or the Midwest or whatever and just go out west and go to California and do it kind of old school. But you did that. Walk us through that story. Just I know you said you wanted to change a pace in life, but how did you actually, what was the steps of saying, damn it, I'm going to load up all my shit and move to California? How'd you do it?
Well, ironically, today is actually marks the 4-year anniversary of me moving out here. So it's kind of funny you bring that up.
Right.
So I was living in New York, pursuing the modeling, and that's when I got the bodybuilding at that point. And I competed a little bit at the beginning of the year through the summer. And Ed Connors had actually reached out to me on Facebook, probably late fall, and said, hey, you know, there's a show here called the Excalibur. You know, I don't know what kind of shape you're in, but, you know, I'd fly you out here so you can compete, come check out California, blah, blah, blah. So I think it was like 7 weeks out from the show. I was like, all right, screw it. So I got ready for the show. Ed flew me out here with another friend of mine from Florida. And I came out, won the Excalibur, did some photo shoots out here, stayed out here for about 5 or 6 days after the show. Ed drove us around, showed us the sights, moved back home. And I, you know, I kind of got the spark at that point. Things in my life, I was sick of New York City. Everything I was doing there, just dealing with traffic, cold weather, the people on the public transportation are just miserable. I was in a relationship that was really rocky, you know, on again, off again. So the Flex Pro came around, and I'd flown out here again to visit and check out the Flex Pro. And when I came out here that second time, that was kind of the, you know what, I just need to take a leap of faith and just do this. So I went back home, sold off all my personal belongings. And when I got back from FIBO that year, I booked a one-way flight, one suitcase full of clothes, flew out here, stayed in a hotel room for like a week and a half. So I ended up finding an apartment to live in, and the rest is history.
Were you creeped out a little bit by Ed Connors when he asked you to fly out there on his dime?
You know, I had heard about Ed, finally. What's funny is Ed had reached out to me probably sometime in 2009, early 2009. I was the Ultimate Warrior one year for Halloween, so that was my MySpace profile pic. And he had seen it, sent me a message. I had no idea who Ed was, so I was like, who the hell is this creep?
So wait a minute. Just back it up a minute. He's just surfing MySpace for guys that are ripped in Ultimate Warrior outfits.
Yeah, I guess. So, you know, but you know, all things aside, I love Ed. And Ed has been nothing but respectful and great to me and my family. You know, he's close with my wife. You know, takes us out to dinner when he comes out. He's just all around been a great guy to me and to many others. So I never have a single bad word about Ed. So anyway, I'd blown Ed off, and then that's when Adam Silver of Silver Models had come across my MySpace, and he saw the photo, asked me if I was interested in fitness modeling. I didn't want to be a model. I was a football player and a construction worker. You know, I was about as blue-collar redneck as they come in college as well. So I was like, hey, whatever. If you book me for stuff, I'll do it. So he called me back within 3 days. He was like, yeah, I just booked you for Muscle and Fitness, shooting in 3 weeks. Like, all right. Calls me back 4 days later. Hey, what are you doing Sunday? GNC's looking for another bodybuilder for their year-long ad campaign. I was like, I can be in New York. I went down and ended up shooting the GNC campaign that actually ended up running for like 5 years straight. So that year, I went off to the Arnold, and there I was hanging from the banners at the Arnold, you know, just a month and a half into the industry. So, you know, it was kind of an exciting ride to begin with, and that's kind of what got me into all this to start it out.
So you haven't had any, I mean, it sounds like it's been a pretty seamless transition then from moving out west. I mean, have you had any real headaches or?
You know, it was really tough at first. Yeah, when I first moved out here, I didn't have any jobs lined up. I had sold off my motorcycle, my truck, so I had a decent amount of cash to survive off of. Kid I moved in with was mutual friends of mine with my best friend. He was from Myrtle Beach, and he was a recovering drug addict. So I knew he was a good kid, but I knew he had his issues, and he kept saying, you know, he wanted to make a change in life. So like, all right, whatever. So we came out here. He had no credit whatsoever, never had a bank account, nothing. So getting an apartment was a bitch. I had to have my mom co-sign for us to get approved. And then over time, you know, he just couldn't pay his bills because he couldn't find a job. He had tattoos everywhere. He was still going into, you know, remission, just, you know, cracked out at night, you know, just had a lot of mental issues. So after like 3.5 months of me paying all of his bills, he owed me like $13,000 towards the end of things. I had some chick hit me up on Facebook. She's like, oh, I was over your place last night. I was in Lenny's room. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, you were sleeping, you know, came over and, me and Lenny hooked up and, we were doing this and that, and like, awesome. So my roommate, who owes me a shit ton of money, is back doing drugs, bringing whores over to the house. So I confronted him the next day and said, you need to get your shit and leave. So at that point, I still hadn't had a good, secure job yet or anything going on. So I kicked him out, and he had a motorcycle, a chopper that he had turned over to me to kind of make up for the money that he owed me. And lucky enough, right around that time, Tito Raymond, Jose's brother, set me up with a client of his who was looking for someone to come to his house in Malibu on the weekends, cook for him, train him, just kind of be a babysitter. Guy was trying to do a bodybuilding show, but he had no self-control whatsoever. So he had just fired his other trainer that was doing that. So I started doing that, and I've been with him for about a year and a half, almost 2 years, driving out there Thursday, staying until Monday, hanging out with him and his family, flying to Hawaii, going to the Pro Bowl, doing this and that, but just training with him once in a while and keeping an eye on him, and it paid very well. So that definitely got my feet off the ground out here.
How does it work as far as training goes at Venice Golds? Do they is it like a split, like a 60-40, 70-30, or do you pay a rent, or how does that all work?
You pay a rent. I'm out of this. It's like $700 a month. You pay. You get to get all your certifications in. They want you to have so many clients under your belt. So it took a little bit. I was living in an apartment complex, had a little gym, so I had picked up a couple clients, was training them there before I finally got up the clientele base that Gold's required to start over there. And then, I got going there, and I ended up leaving the weekend job with that guy. I still train him twice a week. I train his son 3 times a week. I cook meals for him, but I just couldn't do the having to run away every weekend. My now wife, we had first started dating, and she was working a regular corporate job during the week, and then I was running off on the weekend, so we had no time together. And I knew I needed to establish more for myself than just relying on one client, even though pay was great. So right. I had left that and kind of went off and got my own training business going.
What do you do overall to, because like you talked about earlier, you got a ton of stuff going on. Do you do anything in particular to stay organized and stay just, not let anything fall through the cracks so you don't have a bad rep as far as your, accountability, turnaround time, and all that stuff?
In one of your 10 business endeavors?
My phone saves me. I have like a notes app on my phone with reminders, and, so it kind of keeps you on track. But I'm one of those people, when a client emails me, I try to respond right away. I stop what I'm doing. I pull up their file, look at what they need done and get that taken care of. But besides everything else, I don't know, I'm always one of those people that can be able to compartmentalize everything in my mind without needing reminders and just getting everything done.
That's how we got through biology major in college, I imagine.
Yeah. Got my master's and my BS in bio, and just BS my way through it, pretty much, as I always say.
Exactly. I think that's cool because, in bodybuilding, everybody acts like you have to have a one-track mind and shut out other aspects of your life. And that's why everybody bitches about there being no money in bodybuilding, because they can only focus on eating and training. So I think it's cool that, you're able to do it all, really.
I get yelled at all the time. Charles and Aceto and everybody, and Shawn, they all tell me I do too much. I'm going to too many different places, but I beg for a day off, and then once I have, 3 or 4 hours of nothing to do, I sit here on my couch just bored out of my friggin' mind, just trying to figure out things to do. I can't, I don't watch TV. I put on Sports Center in the mornings while I'm eating, but besides that, it's hard to keep my focus.
Safe to say you got ADD or what?
Not ADD. I'm a go person. I always tell my wife, why put off something tomorrow that you can do today? Or I always tell her, I'll start doing arduous tasks. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, if I do this now, then tomorrow's easier. And then tomorrow comes and I find more things to do. If I do this now, then tomorrow's easier. She's like, it's never going to get easier because you always find shit to do. But that's just me. I'm a busybody. Always have been.
How does she put up with it? Does she mind that you're go? And does it take away from time from her?
No, she's go too. She's worked 2 jobs. She worked a daytime corporate job as a marketing coordinator, and she's bartended for the past 7 months now while prepping for shows and everything else. So we're both on the go all the time. We don't see each other as much as we'd like, but we know that we're trying to build a future for ourselves. So
if you're going to live in LA and do it right.
Yeah. You know, it's a little expensive to live out here. So, you know, you can't be lazy.
Yeah. Anybody that thinks you can move from like North Carolina to LA and still make 40 grand a year, you're kidding yourself.
Yeah, I did taxes this year, and I figured out how much I made for the year. And I'm like 5 years ago in my life, if I thought I made this much money, I'd be set forever. And I'm still friggin' broke. I'm like, how does this work? If I was living in New Hampshire, I'd be balling right now, but...
Exactly right. You gotta think of that cost of living, man. Absolutely. Yeah, you know, I had to ask this question. I know this has been burning up Taylor's ass for a while too. Not Chris Cormier, but let's talk about Chris Cormier too. But I was going to ask you about Shawn Rhoden.
Yeah,
is he a player? I mean, there's this rumor going around online that he slays more pussy than anybody in bodybuilding.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, Shawn doesn't. I mean, I'm around him all the time, and that man doesn't have energy, you know, to walk out of the gym with the workouts done.
Because he's busy getting laid all the time, I guess.
I mean, he's got a girl right now. He's got a baby on the way, and I train his girlfriend. You know, they're great. So I know as of right now, you know, he's definitely not out there doing his thing.
Okay.
But you know,
because I heard Ronnie. I'm just telling you what I heard. I heard that he's like back when he was with Ronnie Coleman Signature Series. I heard Ronnie showed him how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, you know, Shawn's a very personal guy. He keeps everything to himself. You know, as close as we've become over the past 3 years or so. You know, he's not one of those people that kiss and tell, I guess. So, you know, I'm clueless on all that. I don't really delve into.
No, I'm not trying to get you in trouble with your boys.
No, not at all. I mean, I'm just telling an honest opinion because trust me, I hear people question me all the time. They're asking my wife, and we're both like, fuck, like all the man does is train, go home, and pass out. And his girlfriend says he walks in the house and falls asleep on the floor for 3 or 4 hours after a workout. So, you know, I don't see him having the energy to be a player.
You know who is though? What can you got any stories? Anything good to tell us about Chris Cormier? Since he's Mr. Venice.
Oh man, Cormier, I love Chris. Yeah, I trained with Chris for about 2 years when I first moved out here. You know, he's like kind of like a big uncle, like a mentor to me. I mean, he's crazy without a doubt. You know, he's definitely calmed down, you know, from what he probably was back in his competition days. But I remember we were down in Miami for nationals in 2011, and my first year doing nationals, and we stayed in the room together, and he had some chick that he had known down there come over the place, and they're hooking up in the room next to me, and he's like, "Hey, you want me to have you ever a blowjob?" I'm like, the day out from a show, I'm like, what? Like, I can't even get a fucking hard on, let alone thinking about fucking getting a blowjob right now. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, yeah, man, she'll go and take care of you, man. I'm like, yeah, I'm good, dude. I just watched what you did to her. I'm all set. I'm good. But, you know, Chris gets a bad rap. You know, he's got a huge heart. He really, truly loves his clients and gets truly invested into them. And when I stopped working with him, it was like breaking up with a girlfriend. You know, we're both sitting at the Salsa restaurant down the street from Gold's Venice, and both crying our eyes out and hugging each other. And, you know, it's just so he definitely has the heart and passion still to this day for the sport and helping other people out.
Why did you stop working with him?
I'm a man of consistency. And one of Chris's big downfalls at that time was, you know, we had to train at noon, and all of a sudden he'd show up at 12:20, 12:25, or, you know, so it's just a little shit like that. You know, for me, yeah, whatever, 20 minutes might not be a big deal, but when I have clients before and after, and I'm, you know, structuring my life around, okay, I have 2 hours to train, run upstairs, shower, eat before I have a next client, you know, it would throw me off. So just from that perspective, you know, I just had to look out for number one.
For sure. Absolutely.
You talk about being a fan of the sport. Are you like a fan of bodybuilding? If you didn't compete, would you follow it and would you enjoy it?
Right now, yeah. You know, I'd never really known about bodybuilding growing up. You know, I knew it was out there, but I didn't really follow it. It wasn't until, I think, like 2006, my best friend had moved down to Myrtle Beach and hooked up with some guys down there that were competing. And he did a show. So that's when I think the first time I ever saw Pumping Iron was then, and started looking at some of the magazines, getting some of the Ronnie and Jay DVDs through Netflix or whatever the online rental thing was back then. And that was kind of my first taste of bodybuilding until 2010 when I had actually stepped on stage. But the more into it, the more of a fan that I am of the sport, truly am. You know, I'm on Muscular Development or RX or the other forums, you know, come showtime to check out who's doing what and who's getting ready. And, you know, I truly love the sport. And I love watching other people do well and succeed and seeing who's out there.
Brad, was your initial reaction positive towards bodybuilding? I noticed with our guests, about 50% of them say the first time they saw bodybuilders, they're like, oh, hell no, with the thongs and all that stuff. They kind of get freaked out. Did you have that reaction, or were you kind of at least understanding of it right off the bat?
Oh, no, I loved it. I mean, I grew up kind of infatuated with the human body, hence why I was a biology major. I love Greek and Roman ancient history and looking at the sculptures of, you know, these awesome physiques. And I always wanted to be big and strong. You know, I was a gym rat since I was like 13, 14 years old. But, you know, it was training for football and more powerlifting type stuff. I didn't think I trained biceps till I was about 23 years old because I was always told you don't need biceps to play football. Strong triceps, good bench is about it. So, you know, I had always strived to build, you know, a big, strong physique, but never tried to, you know, turn into a bodybuilding career.
It was an easy transition for you, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, gotcha.
So do you think the judges have gotten it right here just at the big shows? Like, obviously, you know, the controversy, you know, even after even Arnold himself didn't like how the judges did things. Where do you stand on all that stuff?
I mean, it's hard. I mean, yeah, Brand's body isn't pretty, but he's fucking packed with muscle and he's hard as hell, you know, and there's just so many different criteria in bodybuilding to what makes a good physique, whether it's pleasing lines and, you know, great muscle bellies or just stacked with rock hard muscle. So, you know, I think, you know, judging can go up and down a little bit with, you know, who you'd put in first, second, third, depending on those different criteria, and it may not always flow properly. You know, there are some guys that I'm not a fan of their physiques and they seem to get pretty good placings, and there's some guys out there that I think should place better than they do. But, you know, that's what happens in a subjective sport. As far as Arnold, you know, coming out and saying all this shit, how he has the past couple of years bashing bodybuilding, you know, I think Arnold's one of the most competitive people in the world, and if he was competing this day and age, he'd be in the exact same position as everybody else. You know, right. You're talking about a man that, you know, would kill someone to win a show. So don't tell me that he wouldn't be jacked up on all these drugs and doing all this other shit and eating like a cow to be number one. So I think it's extremely hypocritical on his behalf. Not everybody can have that 6'1" frame. Like he was wide hips. You know, he had a small waist. But, you know, not everybody can have a frame like him or Cedric. You know, it's very rare. So I don't know. I just think he's just a little hypocritical. But
who are some guys that you like as far as your physiques, and who are some guys you don't like?
I mean, like I said, Branch is not the prettiest in the world. You know, Rowe, I think Rowe is freaky, but I think he gets placed too high than he should.
Right.
I don't think there's really much flow to his body at all. His legs are all kind of weird, choppy, but it's just so packed with muscle. His posing sucks. Getting better, but
he's not very fast. Is not.
Yeah, like Lina Bayaki, probably one of the greatest potential athletes in this industry. Just, you know, can't seem to get that thin skin. Cedric, absolutely beautiful. I mean, Cedric's a bigger, better version than Arnold ever wanted to be. You know, if he can just come in a little drier, I think that, you know, he's definitely top 5 Olympian.
Sure.
You know, there's a lot of good physiques out there, so it's really hard to critique. You know, it's all about who steps up on show day and has it all together.
Do you think? What do you think about how they placed Compton at the Arnold? Being is that, you know, the old mantra was shows are won from the back, and he had it going on from the back. His critique was that he had a smooth abdominal region. Do you think he was placed fair, or was he just paying dues, or what was going on there?
No, I mean, like I said, I think he was place relatively fair. I mean, he brought a great package. I think he had probably some GI issues. That's what made his stomach look a little watery. I've been there, done that. You know, you get constipated or just eat the wrong thing and you get a little bloated. But, you know, it's like I said, I was there, I was up close and looking at Branch. It was just freaky as shit. So, you know, you could have flipped a coin with either one of those. I actually would have had Cedric probably second, and then it would have been third or fourth between Justin and Branch.
Sure. Hey, let's switch gears to your training. I know you're obviously working with Chris Aceto now. How did you guys hook up? Is it just the Northeastern connection, or did you know somebody that you get in contact with, or?
No, I just finished North Americans. I was working with Dave Kalick, and I wasn't happy with what happened to me and Dave. The last two shows we'd done USA's and North Americans. So Cormier had always been on my shit, like, you know, saying I needed to get with either him or Chad. And I think that was when Shawn had just started training with Charles. He'd flown out once to train with him. So I'd asked Charles if, you know, he could get Aceto's number from Shawn. So he got it for me. I gave Chris a call, and Chris had just landed in Tampa for the Tampa Pro. He called me. He was like, well, you know, I'm really not taking on anybody right now. You know, what's your show placing? What's your history? And I told him. He's like, who you train with? I told him I train with Cormier. He's like, all right. Well, I know you're not a pussy if you train with Cormier. So shoot me over everything you got, and we'll give it a shot. So that's kind of how I got hooked up with him.
Nice.
What happened with you and Kalick? I guess I missed that one.
You know, Dave got me in great shape. It was just peak week that we just couldn't nail down. You know, I had gotten third at Nationals in 11, and then all of a sudden here we were at 2012 USA's, and you know, I got seventh. I just came in a little flat, a little soft, and then going into North Americans, we had a great game plan. I came in probably with some of the best conditioning I ever had, and you know, the game plan was just to, you know, not do anything drastic the past few days. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, let's have a cheat meal. I'm like, okay, so we have one cheat. Oh, let's do another cheat. Okay, so we do another cheat. And then, you know, I went to meetings or wherever I'm leaving. I'm like, all right, Dave, what are we doing? We're going to do potato? Or he's like, you know, I think we should do one more cheat. I'm like, all right, what do you want me to have? He's like, oh, it's up to you. And that's when I just snapped. I was like, motherfucker, it ain't up to me. And like, you're the coach. You know that there's a difference between how sushi's going to affect my body, how pizza's going to affect my body, how fucking cheesecake's going to affect my body. And like, you're supposed to tell me exactly what I need to eat. And so that, you know, that's what sparked me off. But at the time, to his credit, he was trying to compete at that same show too. And he dropped like 30 pounds in like a 2.5 week span to try to make light heavyweights. So his mind was out of it. He was just so depleted and so out of it. But I just, you know, for career wise, I needed to move on. Me and Dave are so close. Dave helps my wife out, get ready for shows. So there's no animosity there whatsoever. It was just a personal move for me to just try something different.
After you came in third in 2011, did you think that next year was, you pretty much had it set in your mind that that was the year you're going to get your card?
I mean, I've never wanted to be cocky like that, but you know, you figure you at least
move up.
Going to be battling for top, you know, going to be battling for top three.
Yeah.
So it was definitely humbling to go. You know, I got seventh at USA's, eighth at North Americans, ninth at Nationals that next year. And that was with Aceto. And then we turned around in 2013 and I got seventh again at USA's under Aceto. At that point, I was honestly contemplating just taking a year off and trying to grow into the super heavyweights, because I was always trying to stay a heavyweight. And I just felt like I was probably holding myself back by building my upper body up where it needed to be.
Yeah.
And right after USA's that year, Chris was like, no, screw this. You're doing that North Americans. Let's just get it done. And then there, we finally nailed it and nailed it again at Nationals. So, you know, it's just one of those things you just got to keep putting your head down sometimes and keep moving forward and hopes for the best.
What have you learned about your body since working with Chris?
That I'm pretty resilient. You know, we diet off pretty low carb, no added fats. You know, he can beat the shit out of me cardio wise, you know, because my legs can hold up, which is great. You know, I love the stair mill. love-hate relationship, I should say. It's just, I think I respond pretty well in all areas. Obviously, I'm not the biggest mass monster, but, I can put on size relatively easy without having to stuff myself to death, and I can get in shape pretty easy. Everything with Chris is just so simple. When I first started working with him, it was, I was like 5 weeks out from nationals, and he still got me eating bread and other random shit. And I'm like, what? Like, this isn't how you're supposed to diet, so all conventional bro science is kind of out the window with him sometimes.
Have you ever had a moment where you just didn't feel like he was right, or you wanted to second guess him?
Yeah. Nationals in 2013, I probably could have won. I'll say it. So I woke up that morning, I was dry as hell, looked great, conditioning was great. And I think prejudging was like 9 or 10. It was like 10 o'clock. And he goes, I want you to drink 3/4 of a gallon of water from now until prejudging. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm fucking dry. Like, why the fuck would I drink water? That's stupid. So I second guessed him, and I didn't drink the water. And I showed up to prejudging flat as a pancake. I got in the car on the drive back to the hotel. I chugged a bunch of water, got to the hotel room, took my shirt off. My wife goes, stand over there. I'm taking a fucking picture. You're going to send this to Chris and apologize to him for not drinking the water.
Iron Mag Labs is the creator of the most hardcore bodybuilding supplements on the market. Makers of the original formula Super DMZ and now Super DMZ 3.0, Iron Mag Labs brings you the strongest legal pro hormones on the market. Also available are Epitrin, Hello Extreme, Epistain, and Asta RX. Go to ironmaglabs.com right now and order from a wide selection. If you are a fan of Project Bodybuilding, please support this company. ironmaglabs.com, the most hardcore bodybuilding supplements on the market. Period.
Gear Sports Nutrition, the most revolutionary and groundbreaking ideas. The ideas that turn an entire industry on its ear. The true game changers. These ideas are often so simple, it makes you think, why has no one ever thought of doing this before? Gear Sports Nutrition is back and better than ever. Introducing a new fat burner that will change the game. Thermo G, the highest quality ingredients proven safe, effective, and deliver the most advanced results. Visit Gear Sports Nutrition at their new home, www.gearsportsnutrition.com, and be a part of the revolution. Gear Sports Nutrition and Project Bodybuilding. It just makes sense. gearsportsnutrition.com.
I took a couple pictures and sent them to him. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't listen. I'm like, I screwed up. I was freaked out. I didn't want to drink the water because I thought I was going to spill over, but I ended up flattening out. This is me after drinking like a half gallon of water within 20 minutes. So, but
never question the
at least I was man enough to man up and admit my faults. And so from here on out, I listen to every little thing he says and don't second guess him.
So here's the thing the most people don't know about Aceto is he prays 5 times a day. So yeah. He's in touch with everything that we're not in touch with.
He really is. If he retires, I'll either have to retire myself or just start doing my own prep, because I'll never be satisfied working with another coach besides him. He's just so in touch with his athletes. We have check-ins every single day. Yeah. Even as an amateur, it was like pictures every single day. Out of the blue, I'll get a text from him, when you're kind of feeling down and out, and it's like this funny, uplifting, positive text. And it's like, he hasn't texted me in 2 months. Everything's via email, and he just randomly sends this text on the day that I feel the worst about myself. So he's got this sixth sense that it's just out of this world.
We've asked other this, whether it's David Henry or John De La Rosa or, you name it, all the biggest names in the sport. And I'm always baffled because just talking about coaches, because you've heard I need a second eye or what have you. And I'm amazed that a guy like yourself, a smart guy, prep dozens of times, or at least a dozen times. Could you not do this yourself? I mean, you seem to really rely on that coach. Could you not do it? I mean, you just said you probably want to retire. I mean, I'm sure you're tongue in cheek with that.
I could
what about having a guy like that, a coach that?
I think my biggest thing is I'm an overachiever. So I would just shoot for conditioning. I'd probably come in like 210 pounds, flying as shit. Chris is there to kind of put the brakes on me a lot, as far as whether it be training intensity or cardio or, eating up a little bit. It's nice just to not think, same thing with like training with Charles or training with Cormier. I would say that I'm no John Meadows or any of those guys, but I'm pretty intelligent when it comes to training techniques and knowing how to apply different things at different times. But it's nice to just show up and not think and be told, do this, do that, and just put 100% effort into it.
Right.
So
sure.
that's kind of with the diet as well. It's reassuring to have someone that has a extremely consistent track record behind me, and just to not have to overthink things and stress myself out. Because I stress myself out enough with my own clients.
Yeah. Since you mentioned Charles Glass, and also that you happen to be very strong, you come from a football background, how often do you find yourself, when you do train with them, do you kind of get annoyed that you have to sort of hold back on all your power lifts, or do you end up sneaking some heavy benches and stuff in there, or do you kind of just shut up and listen to his training with all the, the lighter weights and the odd angles and all that stuff?
When I first started training with Charles, I completely threw away all my notions and all my desires of how I want to train, and trained with him exactly what he said and exactly how he told me to. The last year, we knew we needed to bring my back up a little bit, my chest up a little bit. And, after 2 years with him, his angles and stuff weren't really getting the job done in certain areas. So we both had kind of discussed things and knew that, I needed to do some more compound powerlifting type movements, more rack deads, regular deads, heavy barbell bent over rows, bench press. And, Charles is very adaptive and he's very open. So when I say, hey, I know my body responds like this a little better, so can we incorporate those things? There's no ego involved whatsoever. So he's been incorporating a lot of those things more often in my training. You find that certain body parts respond to his style of training while others don't? I know a lot of people feel that back, you pretty much have to get in there and, lift some heavy shit. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, my back detail was great, like upper back, we put on some decent thickness and detail through there. But as far as overall thickness, it's, some of the stuff just wasn't doing the trick. So we had to switch it up and go a lot heavier and do some more compound movements. Shoulders and arms, those came up doing his style of training. Legs, it's great because I don't need more legs. So a lot of the stuff that we do is all crazy detail work with all these crazy angles, hit sweep and adductors and glute ham tie-ins. So all that kind of training is perfect for what I need for those parts of my body. Absolutely. Yeah.
Agreed. Hey, let's switch over to just talking about general health. That's been another hot button topic on the Project Bodybuilding forum. You're only 31, right?
Yeah.
So at this stage of your career, is this even like coming up in your daily thought process of just, okay, I'm beating my body up in the gym. I've had hamstring tears, pec tweaks, this, that, and the other. And then obviously through with some of the performance enhancing drugs and heavy food that you have to eat. Are you thinking about this stuff yet, or is it just fucking let's get huge and worry about it in 5-10 years?
Nope. I'm being very proactive with my health. This year, especially, I started up the year kind of on my own, doing a lot more for organ liver care. This off season, I told Chris, I didn't want to force feed myself. So anytime I felt full and I didn't finish a meal, I didn't care. I wasn't pushing it to the limits because I didn't want to stress my organs out like that. Chem-wise, Chris is extremely moderate with his approach, and I'm extremely moderate previously with my approach to things. So, I'm off for a good amount of time. I run very basic compounds during off season and even prep for the most part. I've never been broke 2 grams of gear before in a prep. So, my doses are very low. And then about 3 months ago, I started training this client of mine, and he's pretty famous. I guess you could call him a naturopathic doctor. What he does is he deals with people who have cancer, cirrhotic livers, heart disease, things of that nature. And he produces his own line of supplements. And he creates these supplement protocols for people. you can take all the joint supplements you want, all the multivitamins, this and that, but if you don't take them in the proper environment, then they're never going to be absorbed. So certain chemicals need a sugary, non-acidic substance to be absorbed. Some of them need a fatty acids to be absorbed. Some of them need a protein to be absorbed. So he has me on this whole protocol to help with joint health. And I also have IBS. My stomach issues have caused me severe problems throughout the year since I was like third grade. So he's got me on this whole protocol to try to heal my intestines and really help with the inflammation into there. And I can honestly say that over 3.5 months in working together, my joints feel a hell of a lot better, except for yesterday. I was benching like crazy, so my elbow was a little sore, but I used to have debilitating tendonitis, and it's subdued a lot. So, he has me do blood work every 6 weeks, and I bring it in, and we do things to, get my liver enzymes down and to make sure, everything's clean on that aspect. So I'm really taking health, big time this year. I've cut out all artificial sweeteners and no more fake butter, no more diet sodas, none of that stuff. I'm trying to go as natural as possible on everything.
Wow.
What if you could give some pointers out to like some of our listeners? What would you just say some things are just to stay away from? Because everybody wants to know about obviously gear and whatnot. Is there anything that you just would say it's not worth doing?
I mean, I'm not a big fan of. If you want to talk food wise, stay away from diet soda.
You can talk food and everything. Yeah,
like food wise, stay away from diet soda. It's got phenylketonuria in it, and every 1 can of diet soda takes 33 ounces of water to rehydrate yourself. Plus, it also strips free-form calcium in your body. So that leads to decreased bone density, decreased muscle contractions. So diet soda, as this guy is teaching me, is a horrible, horrible culprit. And I used to drink probably 6 cans of soda a day. I'm trying to think here. Chems wise, I'm not a big fan of high dose of growth. Insulin is not something that's consistent in my protocol. The only time we ever utilize that is when I'm extremely depleted during prep, and we just need to fill up a little bit. What's your
thought process on? What's your thought process? For years, it was high test is the best, and blah blah blah. And now we see a lot of guys going back to lower doses.
I think just moderate. I run about 750 milligrams of test, and probably about 300 to 400 milligrams of EQ off season. Test really never goes over that. Everything I've done is moderate in general. So I'm not really one to say, hey, a 1.5 grams or 2 grams of tests with low anabolics is better than vice versa, because I've never experimented. I'm more of a get the most out of the least that you can.
When you see online guys post and they're like 6 grams, I'm not even talking about the Boston Lloyds of the world who are, run-of-the-mill amateurs, but like these proposed cycles that are just huge. Is that all internet myth, or have you actually heard of guys that are IFBB pros using that much?
It's a combination. I do know some guys, some pros that, I've heard run a decent amount of stuff year round. They never really come off. But then again, I also know some top Olympians that are on, 1.5 grams to 2 grams max gear a week. So, I think it kind of runs the gamut. I think too many people are worried about, got to get big too fast. And, I was kind of in that boat last year. I was all about get big. And then, right now I'm more concerned about, 4 or 5 pound increments each year competing, just be consistent with it, because, I think blowing up too fast, a lot of things change. You get too bulky, you're not as flexible, your posing changes, your physique can change in the wrong ways. So I've definitely taken a lot more moderate approach, especially this year moving forward.
Right. Hey, Taylor, should we hit him with 10 questions?
I believe it's time.
All right. Cue the music, buddy.
It's
cute. Okay.
It's always cute.
The music's always cute. Okay, cool. All right, Brad. Here's we're gonna hit you with 10 questions. They're kind of all scattered and off the wall, so you can have a little fun with these. All right. Question number 1: If you could follow in the footsteps of The Rock or the Arnold in terms of a film career, which would you choose?
Oh, The Rock, hands down. I mean, he's just not only a badass character, but he's fun and lovable. He can do those Disney movies. You know, I think that he's one of the most exciting entertainers that we've seen in a long time.
The Tooth Fairy as an example, if you remember that gem.
All right. We'll have question number 2. Got a big election coming up in a year and a half. Team Hillary or team any one of the Republicans?
Shit, team nobody. If you asked me
Agreed.
6 years ago, I definitely would have said Hillary. But her recent track record is embarrassing. I don't think any of the politicians are great. I think we need to get rid of all of them and just find a very intelligent businessman to step in and run this country.
Jay Cutler for president.
Amen.
Yeah.
Okay. Question number 3. You're a big football fan. You played, obviously. We talked about that. What in the hell was Aaron Hernandez thinking?
That's such a shot in the gut for me because I'm a Patriots fan. I don't know, man. It's just what an idiot. The world that most of these guys are idiots. It kills me to see these professional athletes that just can't stay out of the clubs, can't stay away from the drugs. It's like you got 3 or 4 years to make millions and millions of dollars and be set for the rest of your life. Just put the fucking bottle down, put the drugs down, and just play. As a professional bodybuilder, especially, most of us live this hobbit lifestyle to make pennies. And if I was given the opportunity to play football again, I'd probably live the same type of an existence just to be the best athlete that I could. I think that he's just a thug and, hopefully gets what he deserves in jail.
Hey, there we go. 4. If you win a Mr. Olympia title, what's the first thing you'd buy for yourself?
Well, it's not happening, but out of the blue, if I won, I don't know. I'm not a materialistic person.
Pizza.
Did you say it's not happening? Where the hell's the confidence, Brad? Shit.
It's not. It's being realistic. It's not confident. I have my structural flaws. I can only do so much with the body that I'm given. So,
but then but if Branch can do it, well, he didn't do it, but he almost did it.
Yeah, you know what? That's kind of why I like Branch, because I look at him, I'm like, all right, his body's kind of built like mine. And he's made it pretty far in his career, but. So, all right, let's say if I were to win, that 270,000, whatever, I'd probably buy a big jacked up truck.
All right. Any model?
That'd be my purchase. I'm a Ford 2500 turbo diesel, put some 35 Swampers on it, 6-inch lift.
Wow. Nags from the board is going to love you. All right. Question number 5. This is a really tough one. If you had to walk around with another man's face for the entire week, and your choices were Branch Warren, Jason Huh, Rolly Winkler, which would you pick?
Did you say another man's penis or another man's physique? The phone cracked up. That's why I'm like, what?
Well, I'll read the whole one again. If you had to walk around with another man's face with their head for an entire week, and your choices were Branch, Jason Huh, or Rolly, who would you pick?
I'd go with Rolly. It's just fucking funny looking.
He's got those
I do his most muscular face all over the place.
All right. If you had to say question number 6, if you had to say one drawback of living in LA, what would it be?
Traffic. Even if it's no traffic, people have no sense of urgency to drive anywhere. You have a 45-mile-an-hour speed limit with open road ahead, and they're doing 35, and they don't pay attention when they're driving. They'll just randomly slam on their brakes and turn. It's just the indecisiveness and the lack of urgency drives me nuts driving back to the gym daily.
You're from New York, right?
New Hampshire, about 40 minutes outside of Boston.
Okay, but I could see how the change of pace would be a little jarring.
Yeah.
We'll do question number 7. I think this is it. This is like a softball question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What is something that can stop you from becoming world's #1 bodybuilder?
Narrow clavicles, wide hips, shitty back.
Ooh.
Wow.
Brutal honesty here. All right. Question number 8. Name 3 songs on your workout cardio playlist right now.
I've been listening to a lot of like house music when I train. I was so anti-house, and I met my wife, and she was a house head. So I just put on Pandora, and I've been playing Yellow Claw, Pandora Radio, or what else was there? Truffle Butter, Pandora Radio.
Taylor, are you familiar with any of these? He's a musician, Brad.
No, I don't do the electronic stuff.
Yeah, it grows on you.
Well, the reason I can see it for the gym and stuff, because it's just like it's a constant kind of, it's 5 minutes of relatively the same. The tempos and shit aren't changing. It's one tempo the whole time, so you kind of can just sort of zone it up and use it as a soundtrack, right?
Yeah. It's like cardio. It's great. Training some exercises. If I'm doing a really heavy day, then I pull up some Mudvayne radio.
Yeah, that's
a little more hardcore rock.
For sure. For the cardio, you just need something mindless that sort of kills the time, right?
Yeah, just something to put happy thoughts in my head and lift my spirits.
Left foot, right foot.
All right, question number 9. Is there anything that sticks out in your head that you regret doing throughout your life?
Oh, shit, there's a lot on that list. Biggest regrets. Driving wheelies down the highway on a motorcycle.
Oh, wow.
Got into one motorcycle accident going into my sophomore year, riding a wheelie. Car pulled out of an apartment complex, cut me off. I had to slam on the brakes, went over, missed all of preseason. My sophomore year in college, coaches were pretty pissed off after I came off rookie of the year. And then going into my junior year, I was living down in Myrtle Beach with my 2 best friends, riding a wheelie down the highway, 70 miles an hour, no helmet. Flipped over backwards. Luckily, no broken bones. Didn't hit my head. Just lost all the skin on my body. Then had to miss preseason that year too. So, needless to say, my sophomore and junior year football years got stifled a little bit.
What kind of bike did you ride?
I've had CBR 600, the GSXR 750, the GSXR 1000. And my chopper was a complete custom with a SNS 113 motor, 60-degree rake, and a 300 rear tire.
So I'm just guessing you were probably laughing a year or 2 ago when Rolly laid down his motorcycle and had to miss the Olympia.
So they have stuff in common already.
Yeah.
When my chopper got stolen almost 2 years ago, I was going to get another bike, and my wife was like, you know what? You got bodybuilding, we got everything else. LA, like I was talking about the drivers earlier, we see an accident, a motorcycle down almost every single day in LA. So I'm not going to ride out here anymore. I love bikes, and it's the only time I truly feel free. But when I go back home to New Hampshire, I steal my cousin's or a friend's bike and ride up the coast or go up to the mountains. It's a lot better riding out there anyway.
You don't know who these guys are, but Nags and Blocks on the forum are just chubbed up right now hearing you talk about bikes. There's some guys that are like super loyal on our forum, and all they want to do is they've been riding bikes for like 20 years.
Yeah, I love riding. It's honestly one of the greatest things that I've ever done. Nothing's more free than being on 2 wheels on an open road.
I've never done it, but
yeah, I'm too big of a pussy.
I can. Number 10, final question. I am a pussy. I'm going to call myself out. I'm not getting one of this.
I'm not getting one. Fuck that.
Question number 10, last question, potentially the hardest question. Who's the biggest douchebag in bodybuilding? You just walk the other way. You just walk the other way when you see him coming.
You know what? I haven't really encountered anybody like that. There's a lot of egos. Shawn's always been relatively good to me, so I have no knock on him. He was a personality that kind of rubs me the wrong way. Fuckery. Just the arrogance of that man. I mean, I understand you need to be proud of your accomplishments, but every time you tag something, you tag how many pro cards you've gotten, how many pro wins you've gotten, how many victories, and this and that. And he went on this big rant yesterday on Facebook on another thread about one of his clients, I guess, hired someone else 4 weeks out. And
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know, both of them are oblivious, whatever. Just that whole thing was just like, dude, just fucking chill out. You're a grown-ass man. Like, be pissed at your client who hired another coach at 4 weeks out, you know, and was playing both of you, you know. So I just hate arrogant people like that are just so full of themselves.
Good answer. That's
I don't know.
funny.
I don't know from a hole in the wall if he could be a great guy, but just from what I see from an outsider's perspective, someone who's extremely humbled and tries to structure their life and promote being a humble, good person, that just rubs me the wrong way.
Cool. I dig that, Abe. And I want to thank you for coming on the show. Do a quick, anybody you want to plug, or I know you got your Front Row Athletics, which is a cool brand. So where can people reach you and all that good stuff?
You can just go to my webpage, bradrowefit.com. Go to the store link, and that will bring you over to our Shopify account. You know, I thank Liquid Sunrays for supporting me this year, and my wife and family and friends that I never get to see because I'm a bodybuilder, and you know, Aceto and Cormier and Charles and Shawn for always pushing me and believing in me when I don't believe in myself.
You're supposed to thank the fans too, right here.
What's that?
You're supposed to thank
The fans.
Oh,
The adoring masses.
Well, I don't have fans. That's why I hate the term fans. I'm nobody. I'm not, you know, I'm not some big movie star. I'm just like everybody else.
Yet.
Just doing what you love, trying to get through in life. So I hate the term fans. You know, they're supporters. They're along for the ride. You know, they're sharing their journeys with me. So, you know, I think we're just all in this together.
I love your humility, because I personally think, and no, this is no bullshit. We have a lot of big name bodybuilders that come on the show, and I think in the next 3 years you're going to be up there you're going to be top 6 in the Olympia. This is my personal opinion. So I wish you all the best, man. I hope you keep kicking ass and stay injury free and just keep doing your thing.
Thank you very much. Truly appreciate the opportunity to come on here.